Hello, dear viewers. Thank you so much for joining me for another reading. Today, I'd like to read more on, well, the epidemic. It's what's on everybody's minds. And one viewer, one patron asked, what's the purpose of this? And, I did a spread on that the other day, and it was really telling. So I thought I would go ahead and read on that today. Spirit, I don't think bad things come from Source, but I do think that Source can use earth-shattering things like this to do something. And so, Spirit, what's the purpose of this? What will this be used for? We ask for all of the information that's good and knowledgeable and accurate and helpful. And thank you. All right. So, in the heart of the matter, we get that Queen of Swords. How many times has that Queen of Swords come up? And she has oftentimes represented truth, speaking truth, oftentimes represented things like investigative journalism, things like whistleblowers, people like reporters, people speaking truth. And there is a feminine nature there. It doesn't have to be a man or a woman, but there is a sort of feminine kind of characteristic to that sort of advocacy. That's the word, advocacy. So it's people coming forward, it's truths coming forward to advocate. All right. Now the challenge is the Queen of Coins. Isn't that the truth? So the challenge is the Queen of Coins. Wealth has a lot of power in our world. And there are many people who need advocacy because their rights and their well-being is simply, falling down, 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 down. There are more and more people in the world disenfranchised at a time when it doesn't have to be that way. At a time when we should know better, at a time when we have the technology to wipe out so many troubles that have plagued humanity. But it's simply bad politics and power inequalities that get in the way of that. So this is also about us on an individual level, though, too. Okay, so the Queen of Swords. So that would be the part of us that is seeking truth. No matter how we feel about it, no matter how other people feel about it. That would be the part of us that is willing to speak it quite courageously. And it has that ring of truth when we speak it. So that would be us too, who are using our logic and not our emotion to behave in a very, smart way. Now, the challenge for many of us, Queen of Coins, we like security, don't we? I like security. I'm an earth sign. This is my queen. I'm all for Queen of Coins. I like security. But the thing is, sometimes with both the king and the queen of coins, man, they can get kind of rooted. They get rooted to that throne, and it's just, it's hard for them to move. This is a very passive and restful position she's in if you look at that card. And what's she looking at? She's looking at, what do I have? Do I have enough? I have enough, so I can rest. I think I'm okay. So this is also our challenge on an individual level, to not give up too much in the way of truth. And this is also spiritual truth. The Queen of Swords is going to be very good at grabbing that Ace of Swords that's offered by Spirit, epiphany, revelation, hearing. She's going to be good at that. So it's a time of courage is what I'm hearing. It's a time for us to choose courage, all of us, and get smarter, focus more on what is true, advocate for others, not just for ourselves. That it's just time. We're smarter than this. It's almost what I just heard the universe saying. You're smarter than this. With all of the information you have and all of the ability to understand each other's perspectives and all this knowledge at your fingertips. You're smarter than this. As a people, we do not need to have this kind of terrible inequality. We do not need to have disenfranchised people. We do not need to have racism and bigotry. We don't need to have this. We're smarter than this. And we don't need to let our emotions run us. See, the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords, they do not let their emotion run them at all. Remember with Mueller, we got the King of Swords to represent him a lot. He was going to impartially apply the law, the rules. That was that. He had a lot of feelings about it, I'm sure, but he did it. There's some protection in that kind of impartiality and that kind of relying on rules and laws and truth. There's some protection in that for us. Okay, so underneath it all then, Lord, okay, Spirit. I was raised Catholic, so I sometimes revert to Lord. In my personal prayer time, it's God. It's God. God is everything. God is everything. But here I use the word Spirit a lot of times because Spirit is all inclusive. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's important. And a lot of times people have all kinds of meanings associated with the word God that kind of can get in the way of knowing God, you know, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I digress. I'm going to go ahead and look at the underneath. And that is the Nine of Wands. So we're embattled. We're battle weary. The purpose. Oh, okay. Believe it or not, and this is something I have been hearing from Spirit, that with this COVID-19, with this pandemic, there is a recognition that there are many of us who are battle weary, who are guarded, who are, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? Who are, you know, picking up our wand and ready to do another battle and weather it, even if we're injured, with that guy with the, you know, on his head, which can also mean an injured mindset, an injured hopefulness. We are ready to do battle again, right? But Spirit sees the weariness. Spirit sees the weariness in you and I and in everyone, and knows that something needs to change. This is going to be used because when so many human beings across the earth cry out for something to change, you know Spirit's going to make sure that happens. And now we keep getting this Wheel of Fortune, like, okay, it's starting. You know, it's really starting. Hang on. Okay. In the past, we've got the Ace of Coins. Also, people have been, Spirit is being very responsive. People have needed greater security. They've needed, frankly, a lot of times more money. We have more people who are living without the basic kinds of sources of security that they need. You know, people can buy a phone. People can buy this or that. But when the basics cost so much, healthcare, housing, food, education, which would be a primary lever for trying to improve one's situation or one's family's security. When the basics are out of reach, well, you know, the trinkets you might be able to buy very cheaply because they're mass produced. They're really not security. They're really not much. And so Spirit is understanding that too. Spirit is the hand out of the clouds. These cards, the aces, this is an opportunity coming from out of nowhere. So Spirit is being responsive to us. And look at in the background of this card, we have a gate, we have a doorway, we have a garden path. To where? To change, to what's new. And a mountain in the distance, to some beautiful scene. All right, above it all, we've got the High Priestess. That's what's on our mind. This is also a time of spiritual seeking, a time of seeking the greater, deeper mysteries, the things that are not always apparent to everyone. It's a time of seeking that. And Spirit knows this. See, this is what people forget. This is what I forget. This is what we forget. That we think we're in charge and we know exactly what's going to happen. And, you know, we can figure this out. The thing is, Spirit can change all that. You know, there can reach a critical tipping point where it's time for something new to come in, not only for one individual, but for all. And that can happen. It's created by us as well as Source. You know, we're all one. It's created together. And it's time. Many of us have felt the stronger movement of Spirit in our own lives. Signs, intuition, messages, strength that we don't know where it came from, or an intervention in our day that is surprising, but we've asked for it. You know, that is happening all over the earth. What I'm hearing is that's happening everywhere. Spirit is doing something. All right. In the immediate future, we have the Queen of Wands. And that Queen of Wands, and I think it means it in this one too, is that ascending political energy, probably a bit more female. You know, so Spirit wants some more equality there. I think, wants women more equally represented in leadership positions. This is a great leader. I would love Queen of Wands leaders, bosses I've had that have been Queen of Wands leaders. Terrific, perfect. You know, they're purposeful. They're purpose-driven. They know what the goal is. They're very focused. They know they can inspire others by their own dedication to the goal. And they're kind of full of life. And this is how they lead. They don't necessarily micromanage. You know, they're not too harsh. Queen of Swords could be a little harsh. They're not too harsh. They're just, this is what we're all here to do, and this is what we're doing. And in political leadership, this card's come up a lot to mean sort of ascending leadership, Democrats in the House, but this could be in a much broader way. I think that's a much broader sense. It's above party, it's above, and it is above gender as well. There's no reason a man can't have this Queen of Wands kind of energy. But you notice, just like with the Queen of Swords, there's a little bit more feminine aspect to it. The Queen of Wands is very life-giving. The Queen of Swords would advocate. So this is it's a little different flavor, isn't it, for the political leadership that will be ascending. At the root of the matter, there's that Five of Swords, that corporate kind of greed, sometimes winner take all, winning at any cost kind of mentality. We do have to have a change there. Spirit had me researching economics. Now, I have not studied economics. Probably time I do. That's probably why Spirit had me doing it. Gave me some words straight out of my meditation that I then Googled and started reading about Fordism, post-Fordism, you know, all these economic, you know, neoliberalism, all these economic kinds of and philosophical kinds of developments. And those of you who know this subject are thinking, oh my gosh. Yeah, the very beginning. That's what I'm looking at. But Spirit has me looking at that. Why? Why does Spirit have me looking at that? I'm supposed to be, in my time of meditation, understanding more about how our current system evolved and what could be next, as far as economics goes, as far as political philosophies goes. And it's not this, let me tell you. It is not this. This is corporate, winning at all costs. We're into this whole corporate model. Profit is king. Short-term profits are king. And it's all good. You could apply that to any field. You could apply that to education. You can apply that to healthcare. You could apply this model to anything and it will make it better. No, it won't. No, we've gotten lousy with it. Our thinking in all of these major societal institutions has become lousy with it. We need change. All right. In the immediate environment, we have the Seven of Cups. So that's a lot of confusion. But you know what? The Seven of Cups comes up to people are peddling illusion. Yes, we're having a lot of that. Maybe that's why we get this King and Queen of Swords a lot of times. People use your brains. It's like, use your logic. So the Seven of Cups, there's a lot of illusion out there. There's a lot of misunderstanding. There's a lot of fear of the boogeyman. Because, you know, look at this man. The one that is draped with a cloth is the most intimidating of all the cups. What is that? That's the unknown. Whenever this card comes up, I always feel like Spirit is telling me, please envision good things, envision positive options, envision choices and things that are coming in that are good, like the laurel wreath victory, like prosperity, the jewels, like strength and protection with the castle, you know, love with the romantic figure here. So picture the positives is what I hear a lot when I get this. It's okay to have dreams. Dreams are a good thing. It's all right to build castles in the air. It's all right to think about what beautiful things we can do together. We've got to do more of that. But the illusions, the delusions, the obfuscating the truth, that kind of thing we've had too much of that. In the hopes and fears, we've got the Tower. Okay, so the hopes and fears section doesn't mean that must happen. However, oh, I understand this. The Tower is part our fear and part our hope, isn't it? The Tower is something that changes everything. It doesn't have to be bad. It's an event that just hits. And boy, is this pandemic that. But it can change everything. It's powerful enough to change things for good. So, And I'm looking at the imagery on the card, and you have two royal people falling on their heads, and you've got the lightning striking the top. Sometimes it's a revelation, like striking the crown. But there's lightning to the top leadership. That's what I'm seeing here. There's lightning to what's established. Because royal lineage would be established lineage, right? Whether it's, you know, traditional royalty or royalty of class, wealth, prestige, a group of extremely wealthy people. So the Tower is both our hope and our fear, but I hear Spirit saying good things can come of that Tower. Don't worry about the Tower. Good things can come of it. The change that we've all been asking for is likely to come out of something that feels like the Tower. Okay, and in the outcome is simply the Ace of Wands. Humble card. Spirit helping us again, bringing us an opportunity, bringing us, I feel like I see us all. I just saw an image of all of us rolling up our sleeves and taking the wand that's offered to us, the thing that's offered to us, that draws us, that has us enthusiastic and purposeful about it to improve the world. New opportunities coming in. New opportunities in this. And they don't have to be, it's all going to be a tapestry is what I'm seeing. Like one thread at a time by each person. It's going to come together and be beautiful. But it's just, we don't have to have one big answer right now. This is about all of us doing, I think we're going to be doing more for each other. I think we're going to be working more together, person to person throughout this. And taking the small processes, the small goals, and going with them. I think that's going to change things. And we're building a new way of being here and a new understanding of each other. We know that world governments are going to have to work together more with this pandemic. We know that. We can see the tragic effects of failing to benefit from the the knowledge that's around the world. We can see that, with the US not getting, hang on. Sorry, there was some noise in the other room. All right. But yeah, so it's like doing anything, picking up anything that Spirit has to give you. We'll be doing new things. We'll be approaching problems in new ways on an individual level. What's the clarifier? Five of Wands. That political debate continues, yes, which is okay. It's never been a bad thing. It's all right if people disagree and talk. It's okay. As long as it's not just a game. Oh my gosh, have I become tired of the game. When you listen to these congressional hearings and everything, and some lawmakers, they're using their time to play the game and further their particular Seven of Cups kind of version of things, right? I just completely tune out to all of that. It's a game. It's useless. It's not real political debate. It's not helping us to gain in skill like these pages, training to be knights, are doing. Not doing that. It's not doing anything like that. It's a game. But there is a lot of useful political debate that is in earnest. And I was watching bits of a congressional hearing, and I noticed that even some of the Republican lawmakers were starting to be more careful about using their turn to just play the game. And, when they were interviewing Dr. Fauci and others to get more information about what should we do about this pandemic. And there was at least one Republican lawmaker who was clearly still playing the game. And then there were others, though, who tried to and backed off and had to get serious about this because you could see the cogs turning. They were feeling like, okay, but this is a serious issue. I have constituents. Their enthusiasm for playing the game had waned. And I clearly heard, by the way, when I was watching that, I clearly heard somebody say they'd better watch out because by their words, they could have blood on their hands. It's not too often I hear something that arresting from spirit or a spirit sort of over my shoulder. But it was one of those things that rang with the ring of truth. It wasn't condemning. It was simply that true. So, that was something. But hopefully there will be more useful and sincere political debate happening. And then we have the King of Coins in the outcome. So the wealthy and the money in the hands of not too many people, that's not leaving us, in other words. But we're getting a new focus here. And we're going to have more information. We're going to be learning more and sharing more. We're going to be working more things out. We're going to be having many more opportunities to change things in our individual lives, which, and I see this tapestry again, will create huge changes in a societal way. I've been hearing a long time, you guys, that as much as we focus on our political leaders and what they can do to change and what we want them to do, which is just fine to focus on that, I keep hearing the real change comes when ideas change. Societal shifts happen, ideas change, and they catch on like wildfire. So we cannot underestimate the power that we have on individual levels to change ideas and to grab these opportunities that come to us, to do what needs to be done, do what draws us, do what begs to be done, do what interests us, do what gives us some passion. I think a lot of us have a lot more passion for doing what's important. This is going to help us with priorities and doing what helps other people as well, building, not just performing our role in the machine. So that was wonderful. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for giving us all of that. And as much as none of this is easy, and I believe Spirit has loving, comforting arms to put around us for everything that's difficult and lots of compassion and sympathy, I just really do believe Spirit is going to use this for good in the end. All right. Well, I thank you all for being part of the solution. Bye-bye.